We're going to be beginning in just a couple minutes here. So thank you all for coming out. Wonderful. Thank you all.
Good morning. I had some prepared remarks, but seeing you all here, I won't be able to read it. I want to say one thing right off the bat, and if you leave here with anything today, leave here knowing that how much we appreciate what you have accomplished in this space. It's really been a collective, we do this together. And this is, I get laughed at and often because my saying, as you all know, is when we all work together, miracles happen. And what you're sitting in today is a miracle. It is absolutely phenomenal, and it's because we all did what we could and made it happen. I want to say a few words of thank you. I wish I could go through and to each and every one of you and name what you have meant to this project, what you have done for me personally and for this project, but there is not the time for that. So let me just say that, how grateful I am to all of you. I want to thank members of my community, our community leaders who are here on the stage with me. I want to thank Ms. Lily Skinner, who is the head of Core City Neighborhoods, who founded Core City Neighborhoods with Bishop Governmental back in the 80s. Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, Speaker of the House Tate, Mayor Duggan, Council President Sheffield, Councilmember Santiago Romero, Mr. Jim Farley, Mr. Jim Tobin. These are the people that really made a huge difference. I'd like to ask my board of directors to please stand and be recognized. They have really made this project possible. I will say that Mr. Jim Dabluski, who showed up at the 9th hour, and I'm telling you, we would be out on the curb with boxes trying to figure out how to activate this building if it hadn't been for Ford Land. So thank you for all you've done. Ms. Eva Torres, our district manager, unwavering support for us. Ray Scott and the Lear team have been unwavering in their support and dedication to this project, so thank you, Ray. Mr. Gary Torgo, who I don't think is here yet, but just a senior community leader who's done so much for us. I want to recognize Senator Stabenow's staff, Terry, who is here with us today, Representative Senator. And I want to thank the Jesuit community who has really supported me and dealt with my missing in action for the last 9 years while we worked on this project. So thank you to my Jesuit brothers for being so supportive of this project. This is really what happens when we have a private-public partnership, when we all work together. So I want to just take a moment. We're going to watch a short video looking at the progress we made since the groundbreaking. Please, let's take a look at the video. Good morning. I'm Father Tim McCabe. I'm the Executive Director of the Pope Francis Center. And I want to thank you for being a part of this historic moment in the beginning of ending chronic homelessness in the city of Detroit.
Isn't this a special day? What Father Tim has done, the vision from start to finish.
I can't wait to see it finished. And knowing that we're going to have all these services and a range of services, even with healthcare too, is important, and I'm really proud of it. And it's a special day, and I can't wait to see when it's done in the ribbon cutting.
It's a miracle. This place is really a miracle. I mean, the amount of generosity and support and commitment that we've seen from the community, from all of our partners, and just been unbelievable to see this finally coming to life. My vision for success is the audacious goal of ending homelessness in the city of Detroit. This seems to be this missing link to actually bringing this to an end. And so my goal is to make sure that every single person that we can help is helped. Every person that wants to be housed has a place to go to. And that this model, I believe, is going to be successful, that it's templated, that there are other places in the state and in the country that will be able to learn from us and be able to provide a Pope Francis Center in their communities.
Really having kind of that full suite of wraparound services, I think is critical, a critical piece to making sure that people have the ability to be housed.
When we're talking about, our patients that unfortunately are experiencing being unhoused, it's so difficult. And how do you even get 1 foot forward when you're just trying to figure out where do you get your next meal, right? Where am I going to put my head and sleep tonight? And so I think that this is just an incredible step in terms of addressing that huge problem that we see in the city of Detroit.
I can't wait until we open our doors and start bringing people in here. And we're not far away from that. We've gotten a lot of information, and we have got a really solid program in place for them. But they're going to teach us a lot. They're going to help us to know what they need, and we're going to work with them collectively. The first step that I'm excited about is obviously them coming through the doors, but then them leaving here and going to their own place. That's going to be another moment that will be just another miracle when we start to actually seeing our successes by where they go from here.
This project, this program, this building didn't start with the groundbreaking. It started out of loss and out of heartache. There was a particular time when my team had gathered for a staff meeting, and we had just seen a lot of loss. The week before Christmas, we had 4 of our young guests die of fentanyl overdoses, all within a week. We saw one of our women brutally murdered, and we saw a number of our guests die because they didn't have access to proper medical care. And so we were reeling from that because we have grown to love and care for those folks that come to us on a daily basis. And somebody on our team said, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. There are people, there are places in the world where they don't have homeless. Why can't Detroit be one of them? And so we started to ask that question, why not? The city has been doing a great job of keeping the numbers of homeless low, and I tip my hat to the Continuum of Care Board and the Mayor's Office and City Council. We were, back in the 80s, our numbers were moving in the direction of the West Coast, where the West Coast is today. And they really stopped it, and they really got a lot of people housed that needed to be housed. But there is a gap. There's a gap in services for especially those who are chronically homeless. So we took the best practices from around the country. We listened to people and what they were doing. We benchmarked those. We listened to our guests tell us what they needed to recover. We listened to other service providers. And then we started to tell the story. We started to tell people what our dream was. And the Bardish Family Foundation were with us from the very beginning. They were with us before I started talking about this. I went to Jim Farley and I told him this vision that we have for ending chronic homelessness, and he jumped on board. And one by one, you all came to the table. You all became part of this great project, this great experiment, and you all are going to make we're going to change the world. We're going to change the reality here in the city. We're going to change the conversation around what it means to be homeless, why people are homeless, and what they need to recover from that. That's what we're going to do in here. And we do that with radical compassion and love. That's the secret sauce. the trust and the love that I work with an incredible team of people. I'd like to ask my team from the Pope Francis Center to please rise and be recognized. These are the folks, especially those who are down at the center day in and day out, that insist that we show love and dignity and respect for each and every person that walks through our doors. And even those who are hard to love and those who Dorothy Day called the undeserving poor, that we continue to love them because they need it the most. It is not easy work, but they do it with dignity and respect, and they show in superhuman compassion and love to the people who are experiencing homelessness. That's what people need to heal. And now they needed it, and I knew they needed a place. We knew they needed a place to come to, and that's what this building is. I hope if you haven't had a chance to walk through the building that you do so before you leave here today. If you go to our right, there is a federally qualified health clinic that we'll have right here, run by Chaz. Thank you to Dr. Felix Valbuena and Dr. Richard Bryce, who are here today, for making that possible. We'll have health, we'll have medical, we'll have behavioral health, we'll have dental. Thank you, Delta Dental, for a state-of-the-art dental clinic that is here on our campus as well. As you move through the building, this gymnasium will be a multi-purpose room. We'll be able to provide activities for the community as well as our guests. They can get exercise here, we can have movie nights here, but we can also use this for those times when there's weather emergencies, when there's snow, when there's polar vortex, when people need to shelter in place because the weather's so extreme. We can throw cots in here, and we can bring anybody that needs a place to shelter in place in this space. The dining room, the kitchen, commercial kitchen, where people are going to learn how to work in a restaurant. They can learn how to cook food. They can learn how to wash dishes. They can build those skills that make them employable once they leave here. Classrooms for life skills training, job readiness, AA, NA meetings. You'll see the classrooms as you pass through. And then the residential. Each resident will have their own room. They'll have their own bathroom, their own shower, as a way of helping people learn life skills, just basic life skills. How do you keep a place when you've gotten used to living outdoors? We have an outdoor shelter for people whose trauma is so severe that they can't come indoors, that they're unable to emotionally and mentally come indoors. That space will have heated sidewalks around the perimeter with radiant heat above them, and we will prevent them from freezing to death during the winter. That's just something that the unfortunate job I have is to do funerals for people who die each year from hypothermia. But we've gathered, I'll just say this and then I'm going to be quiet and let other people speak. We gather every December 21st to recognize the men and women who have died on our city streets from homelessness during the year. And each year we do that because we don't want their death to go unnoticed. We want to pray with them and their families and their community. But this place is not just about recognizing them, but it's that their lives did not die in vain. That we started this facility and we will continue to work so that everybody has a place to call home and that nobody dies on our city streets any longer. I have the privilege of introducing to you Miss Lily Skinner this morning rather. I met Lily when we were first doing community outreach here in core city neighborhoods. She is an extraordinary woman. I say she's the saint of Corktown. She spends her days cooking food for people who are hungry. When I met her, she was in the basement of the church rectory putting backpacks and school supplies together for the children in the neighborhood. She's an extraordinary woman, and I'm grateful to be a part of her community. Will you help me welcome Miss Lily Skinner?
Good morning, everyone. I do have a boss here somewhere. His name is Wooly Campbell. I only do community outreach, and it's such a phenomenal job. I love it. It's been my pet peeve for years. We started out cooking for the NSO in 2003 and hot served meals that we did. But to say that this is an answer to my prayer, the Pope Francis Center, because it seemed like everybody was leaving the men behind. They didn't have a facility for the men to go in. And this is an honor and a blessing. I pass by here every day from the start to right now. And I was keeping Father Tim abreast of what was going on and what we needed in this community. I would like to thank all of you who did such a great job in financing it and believing in Pope Francis Center. I would like to say at this particular time that we are at 3301 23rd Street, and that is Core City Neighborhoods. You are welcome to come by at any time. We do make food baskets for the people, at least 150 on a Tuesday and on a Thursday. And we don't give them canned goods, we give them food. We make sure that they have everything that you would like to eat, and we give them clothes, new and gently used clothes. And I would just like to say thank you to you all. God bless you.
Here's Dr. Bryce. Dr. Bryce was having lunch with Joe Tate, Speaker Tate, one day, and he invited me to come along and crash their lunch. And out of that meeting, I met an extraordinary man that is doing so much for our state. We are so lucky to have such a great government, state government right now. Would you please help me welcome Speaker Joe Tate?
Well, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I just want to first off, bring greetings on behalf of the Michigan State House of Representatives and the Michigan House Democrats. I am thrilled to be here at the grand opening of the Pope Francis Center's Bridge Housing Campus in Detroit. Like many of my friends, I was introduced to the Pope Francis Center through community service. And it was either 2017 or 2018, I had a friend who invited me over to their day center on Jefferson Avenue, Father Tim. And from the time I stepped in the building, I knew the place was special. It went beyond the task of offering those in need a hot meal or a shower, which is important. But you could tell the center was living its values with empathy and compassion. It was as if the words of love your neighbor as yourself leapt off the pages of the New Testament and was being put to work there. Fast forward 5 or 6 years, I was reintroduced to Father Tim by Dr. Bryce to talk about the vision of the Bridge Housing Campus and what, if any, support could be provided by the state of Michigan. I was proud that last year, the Bridge Housing Campus received that support from the state and is now ready to open its doors to help end homelessness and provide support to those in need. Father Tim, I am grateful for you and your team's vision to see a Detroit without homelessness. You know, the Michigan House Democrats have been busy at work, putting people first in Lansing, but we can learn a lot from you and your team, Father Tim, with your commitment to serve one another humbly and love. I am also grateful for scores of other people and organizations who have given their time and their treasure to make the Bridge Housing Campus a reality. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our Lieutenant Governor of the state of Michigan, a great partner that I have in Lansing. And the great part about it is I don't have to adjust the mics. Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist.
It is convenient to have a Speaker of the House that is a man of great stature and great spirit. My name is Garland Gilchrist II. I'm proud to serve as the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Michigan alongside my partner in public service, our Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And what this center, this campus, what Pope Francis represents is one of the most important anchor institutions working to open the door to something that all of us in Michigan have in common as a desire. And that is access to a dream, an opportunity, to have a pathway to health, to have a pathway to wealth, to have a pathway to stability, to have a pathway to opportunity. Now that access, that doesn't just happen. That access must be engineered through conversation and community and connection. When we come together, as Father Tim said, we can make miracles happen. But I would caution us from describing this as a miracle. This is the result of a set of choices that were made by people. This is the result of effort and hard work. This is the result of empathy and understanding. And this is the result of people saying that we do not have to accept that there are people who live in this city, in this community, in this region or this state who do not have a home. We don't have to accept that reality. We can do something about it. Now, since this is the Pope Francis Center and since the speaker inspired me, I got to quote my own Bible verse. The word says that faith without works is dead. That faith without works is nothing. It took faith to believe that this was possible, but it took work to make it happen. It took many hands and many hearts binding together to build an institution that supports people, to build an institution that is as thoughtful and conscientious and understands that there are so many barriers that stand between people and their possibility, and that we must have people in program that can therefore meet folks where they are, and that whenever something comes in their way that stands between them and their progress, that we can walk with them to keep them on that path. When we say wraparound services, what we mean is whenever something is trying to say no to you in your life, we will meet you and help you say yes. We will meet you and help you overcome. We will invest in you because you are worth investing in. That is what this represents. That is what is so beautiful. And that is what helps this become a model and a framework for the things that we are doing in Michigan to ensure that not just in Detroit, but all across the state of Michigan, the historic investments that we are making in pathways to success, in affordable and accessible housing, will make homelessness and houselessness a distant memory for the people of the state of Michigan. If we continue to come together, if we continue to come to work, and if we continue to act on our faith. So thank all of you for supporting this work, because we know there's more to do. We know there are more people to be served, and even with this center and this campus at the capacity that it has, we have more challenges that lie ahead. But entering into the day that we will leave from this center, we can do so with more confidence. Confidence that when we make a decision to make a difference, that difference cannot help but be made. So God bless all of you. We are so proud to celebrate this milestone and have it inspire us to continue to go forward. Now, when we go forward, we cannot go alone if we seek to go far. And so we must have partners at every level doing the things that they can do, exercising the authority that they have, leveraging the relationships that they bring to the table to make even more possible. And that has been the nature of the relationship that we have seen here at the state of Michigan with the mayor of the city of Detroit, Mike Duggan, who I welcome to the microphone.
Didn't this turn out beautiful? Oh my God. This is, today, Father Tim, this is the city Detroit wants to build, right? Every time I get visitors come in here from out of town, they ask me, where are the homeless encampments? Every city is filled with homeless encampments. And you saw the announcement we have. Because of the commitment of the mayor and the council, we've built $1 billion in new affordable housing over the last 5 years. We've come at this harder than any city in the country. But Father Tim came to me and he said, I think it's great you're building all that affordable housing, but we got a problem. We got some folks on the street trying every day to get by who aren't ready to make that leap to move into one of these new units. They might have a financial crisis, they might have an addiction issue, they might have a mental health issue. He says, I want to build a place with 40 units where all those services are there. And instead of a shelter that brings you in the evening and feeds you and then releases you in the morning, which is good, I want a place that can stay 90 or 120 days. We can address the issues in their lives, and they can move into all these housing units you're building. And from the day Father Tim laid that out, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But a $40 million project is pretty ambitious. And all the way along, the Pope Francis Center had their best friend, Jim Farley. And let me tell you about Jim Farley. He's the CEO of Ford Motor Company. He lived in Detroit, and on the weekends, he volunteers his time at Pope Francis. This is who he is. In the design of the train station, he was the single biggest voice to say, we are going to orient this train station to Southwest Detroit and make it part of the neighborhood. That's who Jim Farley is. So every time Jim called me, I listened. If there was a problem with the land, if there was a problem with the permitting, a problem with funding, Jim Farley would call me. And I would call my team and said, go fix this problem. And after the third or fourth time, Julie Schneider and the housing team and the neighborhoods team and the general services department teams and the permitting team, they all got together. And they went and saw Father Tim. And said, Father, we're a team. Any problem you have, just bring it to us, but please don't have Jim Farley call the mayor anymore. And from then on, it went very quickly. But when I say this is the city we're trying to build, we're also talking about the neighborhood. The folks in Core City know about a year ago, there was a proposal on the land immediately south of here to build a new concrete crushing facility. The city said no. We then went to litigation. Then we realized they were doing illegal stuff on the site, and the city sued them. And the owner of that site, I saw him, he was so angry at me. He said, why won't you let us do this concrete crushing facility? It's the perfect site for it. I said, the perfect site for it? It's right next to 40 new housing units for the formerly homeless. In other places in America, that might be the perfect site. But in Detroit, just because you're homeless doesn't mean you're voiceless. And we said, no, we're going to rebuild this neighborhood. That's the kind of city we're trying to build. And the reason that we were able to be there every step of the way to help with funding and everything else is because for 10 years, the mayor and the city council have been completely aligned. We may argue about other things, but when it comes to affordable housing, when it comes to a commitment of no homeless in Detroit, we have fought side by side. And now I'd like to invite up one of the great champions of affordable housing and fighting the homelessness in the city of Detroit, Council President Mary Sheffield.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. A little pressure to follow behind our Lieutenant Governor, our Speaker, and the Mayor. But I am truly honored to be here today for this transformative grand opening, $40 million investment into the most vulnerable in our community to transition the homeless from homelessness to hope into their highest potential. The Pope Francis Center has been standing in the gaps, serving for over 3 decades now in our community. The opening of the Bridge Center campus today solidifies the Pope Francis as a leader, a staple, and a gem in our community, and continues a legacy of having a heart for all of God's people. With a specific focus for this campus on the chronically homeless, These are individuals in our community who are literally living on the streets of our city while struggling with a disabling condition such as a serious mental health issue, substance use disorder, or physical disability. The chronically homeless face the greatest barriers to self-sustainability, and overcoming these barriers requires intensive, all-encompassing supportive services that no organization in Detroit currently offers. But that changes today, thanks to the Pope Francis Center. Let's give them another round of applause. By providing chronically homeless with the comprehensive wraparound services, the resources that they need to transition from the streets to stable, supportive, permanent housing, the services provided here would not only address the immediate needs for shelter, but also the comprehensive support necessary for long-term success. From mental health services, addiction treatment, job training, educational programs, this campus offers a holistic approach to ending chronic homelessness. Today represents also our collective commitment to ensuring that every individual, regardless of their circumstances, has the opportunity to rebuild their lives and achieve their full potential. We all should be proud, because today we're not just constructing a building, we are building futures, restoring hope, and affirming the inherent worth of every single person. I extend my greatest gratitude to everyone who has made this possible, the dedicated staff, our generous donors, and all of our community partners. Your contributions have truly made this vision a reality. Lastly, Proverbs 29:7 reminds us that the righteous care about justice for the poor, but the wicked have no such concern. So thank you, Pope Francis, for your righteous vision, your righteous service, and for always caring for the most vulnerable in our city. Congratulations. And I now have the privilege of bringing up my colleague where she actually represents this district where this beautiful housing campus resides, Councilmember Santiago Romero.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. As has been mentioned, my name is Gabriela Santiago Romero, and I am your proud District 6 City Council member. Welcome to the district. I had the honor to tour the facility and learn back that back in 2017, Father Tim sought to double down the center's mission to end chronic homelessness, and he began his journey to 11 cities across the country to visit 27 programs to learn about best practices and to see what they do on on-site locations. Him and his team sought input from their guests and experts on the physical design, which you will see on your tour today, and the aesthetics to ensure that the space is a welcoming and comfortable space. Fast forward to December 2021, right here in our Core City neighborhood, the ground was broken for this new facility, and we are so excited for the grand opening very, very soon and for the ribbon cutting today. This center is going to center individualized trauma-informed care. As a social worker and community organizer, this is incredibly important to me. Individuals who are experiencing homelessness will be able to come and have their needs met holistically by providing stabilizing wraparound care. In addition to housing, they will have coordinated case management services, medical and dental, as has been mentioned. They're going to have mental services, a gymnasium, a library. There's going to be classrooms. There's going to be job readiness services, a cafeteria, and so much more. One of my favorite aspects of this center is the outdoor area space that's going to have heated sidewalks and overhead heaters for folks who do not feel safe indoors. Frankly, looking at this brought me to tears. This facility truly meets people where they're at, and that's incredibly important. Again, regarding the physical space as you walk around the building today, you'll notice the hallway widths are going to account for individuals with schizophrenia and who deal with claustrophobia. The color of the walls are calming. There are TVs in rooms to provide white noise. All of this is intentional and designed with folks in mind to normalize their lives in the midst of homelessness. These design hope and aiding them through their journey from going to the streets back to their lives indoors. Frankly, I do believe this model is revolutionary and a model that should be replicated. In closing, the Pope Francis Center, led by your incredible Father Tim, will support, and with the support of his team, is rooted in the belief that we can end homelessness, that it is possible, and as we all said, we all have to do it together. As I mentioned, as a social worker, I believe that we can too. If we meet people where they are, and if we invest in them, if we adequately fund systems that support them, we can end homelessness. It is incredibly possible. That is why I am honored to be here today to support this work and excited to see what we do moving forward. Congratulations again to Father Tim and to the Pope Francis Center. With that, I would now like to invite Jim Farley, our CEO and President of Ford. Thank you all so much.
It is so wonderful to be here in the Vinnie Johnson Gymnasium. His family was so generous to the project, surrounded by all this blue, Ford and Lions blue. It's rare in someone's life that you can have a moment of 100% thankfulness. It happens once in a while, but not very often. And today is that kind of day. I want to thank all the people here, the way you work together, and Father Tim's vision to make this such a special moment for our community. Also for all of you, everyone here, for the professional staff, because today is the start line. The hard work begins now to change people's lives for forever, and that's why we're all here. So I'm very thankful for everyone for this moment, so we can start and begin to serve others, our true purpose in life. I won't say much other than it's a wonderful moment for me too. My grandfather, Emmett Tracy, he was a very generous person, and he insisted on his grandchildren to volunteer at Peter and Paul. I went to Georgetown, and so I fell in love with the Jesuit community, their curiosity and service to others. So it's a wonderful day for me personally. We have so many wonderful donors. Jim Tobin and I, we are so thankful for everyone who was generous to make this possible. They can donate to a lot of different things, but they didn't. They donated to this bridge housing. And one of the most remarkable stories of people you meet along the way is the Burke family. And here's a short video from Marilyn Burke, who without their support, this day would never have happened. This center would have never happened. Let's take a look.
Hello, Detroit. I'm Marilyn Burke, president of the Julia Burke Foundation, and I'm delighted to be with you on this exciting occasion. My husband Jerry and I established the foundation to support causes of interest to our daughter Julia after she died from a car accident when she was 16. Julia was a nationally prominent, competitive, high school public policy debater and had a wide reputation for reaching out to those who were alone or needing help, despite social or political pressures to do otherwise. In Julia's spirit, we are deeply pleased to partner with Father Tim McCabe and his staff, volunteers, and the Detroit community at large in establishing this beacon of hope and healing to all who enter. We're especially humbled by their decision to honor our daughter, Julia, in the naming of the Julia Burke Pavilion. Our foundation is privileged to have helped that vision to become a reality under the leadership of Father Tim McCabe, whose passion and wisdom are exemplary. We felt its intention and model made this project a good fit for our goals, and also had a very promising future because of the extensive research and collaborative planning that went into its design. We applaud the center's particularly respectful treatment of its guests, as we believe in society there is no us and them. There's just us. And it is to the benefit of all of us socially, economically, and politically, to be people who offer hope and healing to those among us who seek it. Thus, the Pope Francis Center represents the power of individuals, businesses, cities, and the state, uniting to support a crucial asset in the community. It will continue to need ongoing operational support to do its good work for its guests and for the community at large. So we look forward to continuing these partnerships and the thriving of this wonderful new place. Congratulations to all who have brought this vision to reality.
Well, thank you to the Burks. Now I'd like to hand the mic over to Jim Tobin, who is my partner in the capital campaign for this wonderful facility. Jim?
Morning, everybody. I don't know what more can be said, but those that know me know I can't walk away from a microphone without saying a few things. But you know, it's 6+ years ago, I get a call to come to Jim Farley's office, and normally with Jim, his meetings typically start at 6:30 in the morning. And I showed up, and Jim Vella was there, Jim Farley, and then Father Tim, to talk about the idea and the dream and the vision. And at the conclusion of the meeting, all of us were in violent agreement. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I do have to thank everybody here for their support. Without everybody here, this wouldn't have materialized. And you know, I was with a company called Magna International, spent 45 years in the auto industry. And those that don't operate in the auto industry need to understand it's extremely intense competition, extremely intense. But the one thing I learned years ago is we come together when it comes to community service. On a daily basis, we're competing, but we also come together to help those that need help. I congratulate my friends from Lear. I see Lear here today. Many other, the Piston Group, many other auto suppliers, as well as everybody else here. But thank you again for all your support. And this is only the start of the journey. We have to continue on with support, and I thank everybody in advance of their continued support as we go forward. Have a great day, everybody.
I feel like I'm standing in a hole up here. Let me just conclude by saying what everyone else has said, to thank you and congratulations on making this a reality, this place. This is really what it means. This is the spirit of Detroit at its finest. We hear so much vitriol and division and hatred being, you know, the cable networks want us to believe that's all that exists. But this is who we are. This is really what exists. The core of who we are is the fundamental understanding and belief that we belong to one another and that we should take care of one another. So this is the spirit of Detroit. This is what it means to be a Michigander. We don't wait for others to do it. We don't settle. We don't see limitations. We see possibilities. So thank you. Thank you all very much. I failed to recognize County Commissioner Jonathan Kinlock, who is here with us today, who has also been a great supporter of our work. And of course, Mr. Gary Torgo, who is here today, a great senior leader of our community. A man who inspires me on a daily basis with his goodness and his support of the community. So at this time, we're going to move to the ribbon cutting. So I'm going to invite all of you here to exit out this door. We'll have an escort take you around to the front of the building, while those who will be actually cutting the ribbons will go through this door. So if you wouldn't mind exiting this way, and we'll go to the front of the building from here. Thank you all very much. God bless.